Welcome to the realm of intoxicating flavors and head-banging beer reviews.
If you're like me, you probably grew up watching the Dukes of Hazzard. And if you're watching my videos, you're probably also like me and you're a sucker for nostalgic references. What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti and I'm checking in from home. And today I have an amazing, crazy beer I can't believe I got my hands on. This is a Bo and Luke variant from Against the Grain Brewing Company out of Louisville, Kentucky. So, quite a while ago now, actually, I was down in Columbus helping a beer day with TK move his daughter to a new apartment. And we found this beer shop called the Beer Zone. And at the Beer Zone, we were walking around. I saw this beer and had to buy it. Because Bo and Luke from Against the Grain is generally hard to find to begin with. But then to find a variant of it, that's even crazier. And Bo and Luke is a phenomenal beer, just a regular beer. So the original beer is 13% alcohol, 83 IBUs. It gets a 4.12 on Untapped with 21.3 thousand check-ins. It's an Imperial Smoked Stout aged in Kentucky Bourbon Barrels. And Beer Advocate gives it a 94 outstanding. And this is a variant of that beer. So, like I said, this is the Bo and Luke Coconut Cream Pie from allegedly 2023. See if there's a date on the bottom of the can here. There is, but I can't read it. It's stamped all over the place. But this is the Bo and Luke Imperial Smoked Stout aged in Bourbon Barrels Coconut Cream Pie. And a coconut cream pie stout just sounds amazing to me anyways, but knowing it's Bo and Luke and it's from Against the Grain, I'm sure this is going to be a phenomenal beer. Against the Grain is an amazing brewery out of Louisville, Kentucky. And if you go down there, they're actually located inside the Louisville Slugger Field in an old train station. It's a really cool spot, easy to get to. Really, I mean, it's just a phenomenal brewery. If you're ever in the Louisville, Kentucky area, you have to go check out Against the Grain. They just make amazing beers. But let's talk about this beer. So it does say see bottom of package for best before date, and that date is just all screwed up. If you're going to print the date on the bottom of the can, at least make it legible so I know what it is. But as this is a stout that comes in at 14.9% ABV, I'm sure it doesn't matter how old this beer is. I'm sure it just gets better with age. Because stouts age well, and high ABV stouts really age well. And this is definitely going to be a night ender for me. Now, there also is a little blurb here. It says, it beats all you ever saw. This barrel-aged ale uses the staple ingredients, barley, rye, and corn, plus cherrywood smoked malt to create a huge imperial stout. To top it all off, we barrel-aged it for 3 Kentucky months. Whatever Kentucky months are. The result of this Bo and Luke variant is a rich and complex imperial smoked stout with hints of chocolate and vanilla. Brewed and canned by Against the Grain Brewery in Louisville, Kentucky. I do have a theory on what a Kentucky month is. Because I've toured a few distilleries, whiskey distilleries. And I can't remember which one I was at, but they said that in their rick house where they aged the barrels of whiskey, in some of the modern rick houses, they can mechanically fluctuate the temperatures to mimic the changing seasons. And when you're aging whiskey, you usually age it for years and years because as it goes through the warm months and then the cold months, the whiskey either goes into the wood or comes back out of the wood, goes into the wood, comes back out of the wood or the wood barrels. And that's what gives whiskeys a lot of their flavor and everything you want a whiskey. But if you do it mechanically, you can increase the aging and decrease the time it takes to aging, which is kind of cheating. But if you're going to do that with a beer, that's kind of interesting. Because there's I don't know that anybody cares if you took a beer and put it in a whiskey barrel and heated the barrel up, then cooled it, then heated the barrel up, then cooled it, then heated the barrel up, and cooled it mechanically compared to doing it over the course of multiple years. So that might make it easier to barrel age beers without actually aging them over years. Wow, we just went on a tangent about barrel aging. So let's get into the beer. I paid $7.99 at the Beer Zone for this, which, without opening it, I'm going to say is well worth it. Hopefully, after tasting it, I'm going to say is well worth it. So I gave you the Untapped and Beer Advocate scores of the original base beer. Like I said, the original base beer is 13%. This variant is 14.9. On Untapped, this gets a 2.59, or I'm sorry, 3.59 with only 290 check-ins. And it wasn't on Beer Advocate. I mean, you can find it on Beer Advocate, but there wasn't enough ratings. It was an NA. And that is just a dark, great-looking beer. That's nutty, roasty, like bittersweet chocolate, and just a fine, subtle hint of bourbon. That smells inviting. That's deep, decadent. Oh, I'm picking up a little bit of coconut. A little bit of toasted coconut. So before I forget, I don't remember what video it was, but the Urban Viking, great beer brew tuber, great beer reviewer. Go check his channel out if you've never watched him. Does excellent reviews. Big metalhead like me. He made a comment the other day asking me if I ever reviewed stouts. And I do review them, but it hasn't been that often because IPAs and other things are more prevalent than stouts. But it's definitely stout season. Specifically picked this beer tonight to review for him because he was asking me if I ever review stouts. So this one right here is for you, Urban Viking. Cheers. I don't know if I forgot. Did I forget to do the color? I mean, that's midnight black. No head. A little bit of tannish around the glass and a little bit of lacing or window panes, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, that flavor. I thought that was a piece of coconut. That flavor is just dark, decadent, toasted coconut, big toasted coconut, a little bit of vanilla. Some caramel. Molasses is in there. Or as Don from Don's Beer Reviews would say, is treacle. Syrupy, heavy body. Lots of coconut. Delicious. 14.9% ABV. There's no burning in the mouth. There's no burning in the swallow. There's no evaporative booziness. This is a really, really nice beer. Really good. However, coconut cream pie, I don't know. I see where we're going with it. It is somewhat reminiscent of a coconut cream pie, but there's too much like Baker's dark chocolate and caramel in it for it to really be a coconut cream pie. It's pretty close though. I mean, it is very reminiscent. You get a lot of that, you do get a lot of that vanilla and coconut and those kind of flavors. I'm not getting any of the coconut crust. And it's not light and flaky like a coconut cream pie would be. But this is man, I'm glad I didn't share this with anybody. $8, $7.99 for this can is a steal. It's an absolute steal for this. This is a phenomenal beer. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, very complex, but you can pick out the flavors easily. It's just again that with caramel, a little bit, actually there's a bit of toffee in there too, but molasses, coconut, vanilla. It's just, this is amazing. I mean, I don't want to nitpick here, I think I would like a little bit more coconut, but the coconut flavor is actually legit, just straight on toasted coconut. Like if you took a bunch of the sugary flaked coconut that you can get in bags for baking or whatever, that shredded coconut with the sugar on it, and one of those baking torches, I just went over that lightly with the torch, just give it a little bit of browning. That's the flavor that's in this. This is an amazing beer. This is 2 big horns up for me. Bo and Luke Coconut Cream Pie 2023 knocked it out of the park. Absolutely amazing. Against the Grain always makes phenomenal beers, but they've outdone themselves with this one. If you see this anywhere, absolutely go buy it. If you can find it for $8 a can, buy every can on the shelf. I wish I would have bought more of these. At $8 a can, I was like, I actually debated about it. I saw it on the shelf, walked around the beer store, went back and looked at it, walked around the beer store, came back, finally bought it. I wish I would have bought every one they had. I mean, this is something you should probably share with friends. I'm glad I'm not, because I want to enjoy and savor every sip of this beer. Such an amazing, phenomenal beer. This is top-notch beer. Probably one of the best beers I've had this year. This is absolutely amazing. Have you had any of the Bo and Luke beers? If you have, let me know. I know they're hard to find. I know some of them are 21,000 check-ins are not that hard. Some of the variants are hard to find. I know it's kind of like a white whale for a lot of people. But let me know down below in the comments if you had any of the Bo and Lukes. Have you been to Against the Grain Brewing Company? It's a cool location. Definitely a neat place to go to. If you're ever in Louisville, go check it out. And as always, embrace the adventure.